I think what I would like to see here is how we move the screen on. Mr. Shahid, can you help me? Like, how do we go by my next slide?
Yes, this one.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, so much has been said about me. So thank you so much, Navish, and thanks to everybody for participating here. I hope I am audible to everybody. And you must notice that this time I have changed my dimension a bit. What I'm mainly concerned about is quality publishing. And the valid questions that Ms. Navish raised on my behalf are there, of course. But I think we will more be looking into, you can call it my preamble a bit, or a sort of context that I'm trying to develop. So we see that a lot of hype has been created about AI, what we call now artificial intelligence, which is rightfully there, of course. But I think what volume slideshow. Okay, there are some technical issues going on along, so I hope it's
Have you downloaded your presentation? Which
जी
presentation? कौन सी आपकी है?
हाँ ये सबसे ऊपर वाला हाँ ये जॉइन मीटिंग
नहीं presentation कौन सी है?
presentation यहाँ से
मुझे बताना ये
We are really sorry about this technical glitch, but we have an IT expert to troubleshoot. So we'll just wait for Dr. Wasim Anwar's machine to be ready, and then we will start the session again.
To everybody, thanks to CLT, of course, for bearing with this glitch, which was not mine, of course. It was technology interfering with us, which it has to. So I was talking about a lot of hype that artificial intelligence has generated. It was very rightfully. But my dimension this time is a bit different. And I think what I have done is in my abstract, I have highlighted few points in red. So we all know that computational humanities is part of AI, which is artificial intelligence, and the digital humanities, which is another buzzword. What I'm trying to highlight is the significance of another AI, which is artisanal intelligence. So we will see how it develops a context for us being part of the humanities. And with all the hopefulness regarding the cybernetic monster that is around us, how do we deal with it? So you can take it as my preamble, but I think my major concern, which I'm trying to share, is how does our inherent creativity that relates to the field of humanity actually displays itself through the various disciplines that are part of the humanities. So this session I would take like more based on machine learning that we are having and should have. How do we keep the aesthetical principles that we intersect with alive and keep the quality going on with our publishing and published work? Also, all this that we accept technology as a tool to be part of us, even if we belong to humanities. What is it, that notion of liberal arts education that we carry? because I think it's all about knowledge and how knowledge is to be disseminated. So machine intervention, of course, is very justified now. Because I think if we go back in history, we can see that even once pen was a machine, pen came in as a tool. And now we are dealing with computers as the machine, and onwards many more machines to come. So the scenario overall appears to be very Frankensteinian, if you remember Mary Shelley's famous novel, Frankenstein, which actually deals with how our own made monsters take upon us. So I think that is where I make my point that how do we go with these things together? How is it that liberal arts education model is still followed and that technology is actually a very helpful tool in developing our thought process, our critical thinking, and our digitization? I think very rightfully being part of humanities and using that lens for myself, maybe for representing many people from humanities, we use the lens of humanities to look at how machines are to be dealt with. So the question definitely arises, why actually humanities, still humanities? What kind of research and quality research can we generate through humanities? And of course, the critical creativity or creative criticality that we are part of, we still hold tight to. So I think I would like to just draw your attention to the green line on the top, where actually I have quoted John Maida, the hand, the mind, the heart working together can create extraordinary things. So humanities, if it deals with issues of feelings and hearts, be it part of the fine art or literature or history, where we talk about our glossaries, or sociology, where we try to look into how humans can live together peacefully. So all those abstract ideas that humanities is part of, how actually all these come to us as part of our thinking and part of our creation, and creation through humanities, and how it is to be manifested through the ease of technology. Because as I said before, if pen was a tool of yesterday, today's tool is computer. So publishing or any other outcome that is part of our research, we find great help from the tools, technology being one. So let's move on. Can we move the slide, please? Next one. Okay, so sorry about that again, and I think technology is playing games with us. Anyhow, we can now see that these are different areas based on our quality publication that we still deal with. Computational humanities research, of course, being very important part of digital humanities. But I think we can also think in terms of design humanities. And if AI is for artificial intelligence, what I have tried to highlight is also artisanal intelligence. Now, what is artisanal intelligence? We will come to that, of course, later on, but I think that is something that makes us think across the disciplines. A scholarship that can be part of not only humanities, but social sciences and even natural or pure sciences. So moving on, and my question being at the end of the slide, can CHR, which is computational humanities research, or digital humanities, or artificial intelligence be human-centered for the human good? And I think being part of humanities, that is a very important question for us to think. Also, I think we are concerned about whether technology can teach us all the why questions that we raise. We get answers to some, but maybe not to every question. So in the end, we also think at times we are dealing too much with machines that can humanoids be humans. So dealing with humans, of course, we talk about tech narratives, we talk about future planetary studies, we talk about knowledge economies, and many other areas about human communication, which can be monolingual or multilingual. So moving on, I don't have to brief much, but I think we all know that the computational humanities research is characterized by the use of formal methods and the construction of explicit computational models. And we have many programs. Already, I think you have been briefed by so many resources. So I don't have to brief you which of the quantitative, statistical, or qualitative approaches that we apply, even for humanities, to make our work really quality-oriented or look good. So all the various approaches, the theoretical ones as well, that we use, and coming to digital humanities, which at times some of the humanities people think, well, it's a savior. Well, it may be savior for our technological skills, for what we plan to do and manifest, but maybe not much for our thought processes. So in humanities, our thought processes go beyond that. So I think we got to be alert about it. I already sent sometimes before, but I can send again, and I think there will be a post reading attached to this session. Many people have talked, but I think Debates in Digital Humanities by Matthew Gold is an interesting work. And I suggest that when he talks about the big tent, which is digital humanities, he highlights how actually humanities computing is possible. But then also, I think we being part of humanities, what I'm trying to bring the awareness here, and I'm not trying to invert our skills regarding technology, but I'm trying to bring more awareness that the technology being used by the people of humanities could be different from what technology being used by natural sciences or pure sciences. So how do we use technology as something that could be aesthetically rich? Look at the architecture for that. I mean, of course, technology brings precision, which we also find a lot in a simple dance gesture for that matter. And I think we try to imitate that precision, but we come along with that precision a deep down learning regarding the feelings and our aesthetics that we try to express. So humanities has a field different from pure sciences. I'm not saying that pure sciences cannot be uh, visibly, aesthetically rich. They have to, they are bound to. But then I think humanities deal with the field differently. So our technologies address different issues that we do. So even within humanities for that matter, and we know that each discipline within humanities also, like philosophy would be different from history. So within the field as well, within the faculty as well, we might have our own unique requirements. Another book that I did mention last time, and I can still forward the link to that, is Digital Humanities, Knowledge and Critique in a Digital Age. So I encourage you to actually study on your own the validity of technology or digitization coming along humanities. The last component on this slide, artificial intelligence. I have already sent to you a few articles, say by Margaret Bowden, Artificial Intelligence. I hope you have studied them or browsed through them. Then Elaine Rich, Artificial Intelligence and the Humanities. And there are many other actually you may track better resources for. So that artificial intelligence is there. But I think what we are talking about or focusing on is intelligence first and artificiality coming later. Though we know that machine intervention many times, and you might have better experienced it, that machine interference, say for that matter with GPS, and if it does not follow your pronunciation, it starts fighting with you or you start fighting with the machine. I don't know how many of you have different experiences talking to a machine. I think I did suggest to you in my pre-reading session, there is this wonderful Indian movie actually, and maybe there are many other works, literature-based or popular literature-based, that expose to you to dealing with technologies of today. So in that movie, I think what interests me is this falling in love with machine. How do we fall in love with machine, and do we or can we fall in love with machine? Is machine also going to respond to that love? That perhaps is the question. Right now, I experienced it like technology was doing its game with me, and I was trying to handle it. So for me, at least at the moment, this technology became a digital monster. So how do we actually deal with monsters that surround us? The monster that we come to us in form of latest technologies and that we are not aware. So my question to you would be, and you can have your own experiences based on your dealing with technology and very simple technologies that we deal with in our everyday, and how much frustrated at times we are that it does not respond to what we really need to do. So such issues, along with this whole business of digitalization, that everything, I mean, very famously and very commonly, we know that life is online now. So how much online actually we live? And that's a big issue for humanities people to think about. It's okay to have all the technologies live in us, but then can we live with technologies alone? So such questions, of course. So coming to the particular theme that I have picked for this session, artisanal intelligence and the humanities. I think again a why question, why we do what we do. I mean, what is it that we do different or try to do different based on our creativity, that we try to actually differ with what machines produce for us, or that we try to control machines while machines also try to control us. But at the same time, I think our creativity, and we try to supersede with that every time we try to give a new thought to the machine. My son actually tried to test me on, okay, can you distinguish between this voice and that voice? And we know that machines are playing a great role in the way the songs are being produced now. So it was very difficult for me to actually identify who the singer was. And that happens all the time. So machine itself is becoming part of this. That is understood. But does that hamper our creativity? Do we try to do things differently or originally stay original the way we are? And I think that's a big question for the humanities. So amid all that confusion or chaos, the order that prevails for us is to actually again systemize what actually the myriad differences of art form that we have to set involved. So what possible partnerships are there, of course, between the two AIs that I have tried to identify, one being artificial intelligence, the other being artisanal intelligence. So this left side, I sent you the article based on the spoons and spawns. And what do actually, when these three things mix, the heart, the hand, and the mind, when they come together to generate an art form, it grows to be altogether different from what we usually experience. So I think, and another article that I forward to you about what the deal with AI art. That's a very Marxist approach, maybe not understandable for all of us, and even for myself actually. But I think the way artificial intelligence and its hype is conquering humanity, how actually we look at this whole notion of humans being treated equally or unequally. What is it that the corporate culture is trying to overwhelm? Where is it that human creativity is being sold not at the price that actually creativity deserves? So these are huge issues for the future. Like we see a very easy example that we are all afraid that when machine comes, the human value actually decreases. How many jobs will go off? What is it that machines or humanoids or cyborgs would actually substitute? So I think these are the issues that humanities deals with. Not that we do not deal with machines, but I think we raise these questions and we have to raise these questions. In a way, look at it for that minute. Are we stepping into digital fascism, where data algorithms actually control humanity? So I think this is time to think also not about digital humanities, but also how actually digit can be humanized or the humanistic digitalization. And that is our field. And again, I'm not trying to invert the progress, but actually bringing awareness. So automation may be there, but is it also entertaining? And that's the human. And what about electronic literature and its stylometry? It means like new forms of literature, new forms of art are being produced. And I gave you the example of spoon and spawns. And here is this Japanese board. And this is actually, let me go back once again, artisanal intelligence. I must mention that this is one of the publications of Johns Hopkins Universities. And there are lots of journals being identified here, which deal with art forms and what it actually highlights as artisanal intelligence. So I think as humans, we also have to have this awareness. How much media is taking up the role of what humanities promotes or has been promoted? Is media distorting humanity and our humanities approaches? These also are the questions that are raised right from the center of humanities itself. So all trans-intermediate researches that are happening based on technologies, based on media, where I think very famously these days, we talk about fake news and many other things could be fake. Online shopping for them. What appears to be is actually not there. So what appears to be as part of a good image may not be the truth. So these questions being part of our thought process and being part of our feelings are to be addressed. So whether we live a post-human era or we talk about modern humanism, we try to, and that's perhaps to me appears very important role of humanities to decenter the grand narratives. Grand narratives are always to be there. Media itself has become a grand narrative. But I think our future anthropocentric approaches can challenge that. How can humans use their interaction with the affective areas, with the aesthetics that they deal with? So there always is a sort of experimentation that continues. Call it an avant-garde, call it like new experimentation, new explorations. But as I said in the beginning, from the purely humanities lens or humanities perspective. So this is based on my experience again to talk about like I picked this interesting. I took a picture of this small toy, kid's computer, and it says learning machine. And rightfully, because I think it tells the children how to learn machines. And I think all our life we learn machines. But then I think there is machine learning, which goes deeper and deeper. But I think what I'm trying to pick here also, and I have picked on 3 of my experiences, reading Elaine Rich, which I think I have shared or I will share this with you again, AI and humanities. So what sort of pattern matching actually goes while we learn machines and try to think through machines? So machine learning is an ongoing process, which I'm not against, but I think thinking through machine also is important. What do we think as part of humanities? Can we make machines think like humans? That perhaps is. My other experience of reading this very famous The Age of Artificial Intelligence, it was an interesting read actually, and a lot of promises, and we still, as I said in the beginning, the hype that we live with of artificial intelligence. Of course, artificial intelligence is very important. It has addressed to our gaming sensibilities. It has addressed to our medicinal issues. It also has a great role to play when it comes to our education system. And of course, new digital narratives are being created every day. So, but then also we got to be very alert about how in the larger frame are the cyber attacks, the wars taking different shape, the conflicts, and at the same time, our effort through human awareness about cybernetic harmonies that we can generate. So can AI bring us to global partnerships? Can human experiences be transformed through AI? Of course they are transformed. But are they being transformed for the human good? That remains a basic question for the people of humanities. I feel so. And so I think humanities should be. So this intelligent filtration of ideas along with ideologies. Now the globe appears to be unified. It has never. So we now get into sort of politics, how technology, whose technology, and actually what is it, the class system that comes out of the use of technology. So these could be interesting areas for us to address from the positions that we hold while using technologies. So what sort of common coding is possible? And I think technology still is struggling with that. how actually humanity as a whole can be addressed through technologies. So there can be still translinguistic spaces, there can be global criticality around it, there can be many future creative narratives that would address these issues. There are borders, even within humanity, so are the borders in technology and their use, be it educational purposes or others. So what sort of alignments are these? With these questions, of course, I think I attended these two very important sessions at MFA and ACLA. And various questions were raised there, even regarding how technology needs to be looked at from the human perspective. So whether we are still divided into haves and have-nots. So are the machines capitalist machines? So what sort of numerical manipulation and data collection is being made through, say, first world and third world, or high culture and low culture? So there can be a sort of digi-imperialism that could be around. Does that go around white mythologies, which used to be the concern of post-colonial studies? Is there dehumanization happening? The data mining and transmedia remap. So what is it that positions make difference? If we are using technology from our position, and I'm taking example of Mera Pakistan. So where is it from Pakistan or other countries, whichever third, second, or first world countries they might be, as we divide the globe to our communities. Where is it that we need to remap? We already know that when we have these Facebooks or we have our digital communications, we create our own content, which of course is a great blessing that we get through technologies. Our continents are our friends who we put together and we think, okay, this is the life that we are. But I think talking from the global perspective, if colonialism was a time once, and if it is still not lingering on in many other forms, where is it that the post-colonial studies ask us to remap the world? What corrections or corrective purposes can be in there to be addressed? So many of the readings of the past and challenging history in terms of that history was misread, and it becomes important for many national histories to be re-recorded, go back to archives. And many works have been done, like Orientalism by Edward Said, or The Empire Writes Back by famous Bill Ashcroft, and many others. So I'm not asking you to become post-colonialist, all of us, but what I'm asking is, what is it that we use technology for? What is our purpose? How is we are technology friendly, and technology is friends to us, to the way we want to look at life, the way we are living. So is there a possibility to work through machine, a co-creation of the global centers, be it north, south? How actually speculative computing labs or tech ontologies and digital pedagogies help us again to look on the basic question that I raised in the beginning of the human good. And humans are not just centered, they are also marginalized. How do we address, say, epistemological marginalization if that's happening, even through technologies, the flow of the knowledge? I mean, simply to imagine or stereotype that East has been void of knowledges is just, I think, a mishandling of the future pedagogies. So where is it that researchers taking their own positions in humanities or social sciences, collaborating with social, because it's a transdisciplinary field. So where is it that even biology can come in along literature or arts, and we look into how human body is being treated in equation all through where we be human. So, okay, so with all that, I think a lot has been told to you. So maybe I don't have to actually take on everything. But what I'm trying to review once again is a few of the things, and I'm going to read from some passages. This one article that I think sent to you, Reinventing the Humanities for Our Fragmented Time. And it says, and I think we all we agree to that, that the humanities isn't a fixed entity, and that it has undergone far-reaching transformations. So, but I think we also know that this time is also about redefining humanities. How do we redefine humanities? And new definitions of humanities are possible, should be possible given time, because I think we are living with technology. We are having a partnership with technology in the name of digital humanities. So there are various opinions about how humanities needs to change its definition, basically. So from the simple disciplinary hub that these subjects come under humanities and these not, I think we have crossed that time. Today, humanities is more global. Today, humanities is more transdisciplinary, even through technologies. And I think we need to be very much alive to broadening the scope of humanities today. The simple, easy definition of the past that humanities addresses the ontologies of the human condition that they undergo. Yes, that is important, but I think we cannot at the same time dispel or ignore the importance of how actually the conditions have been technologized. If ever things were happening somewhere in the heavens, now they also happen on the earth, be it the politics or be it the history, but I think there are new things happening that need to be addressed. So with this changing form of humanities, what I would also like to, because I think you know, and I think it was told in the introduction that I'm part of the creative writing in English in Pakistan. So I would like to draw your attention to another article that I did forward to you by Beth and Family, Stop Corporatizing My Students. Much of the fear of technology today is also that we are being corporatized. So it's okay, like we also see that a lot of creative work is being done online. Now, I'm not against that. Of course, technology is opening new avenues for us to do things differently. But then, are we being paid for our aesthetical awareness? Are we being paid for the labor that we do? These can be small, but they are big questions. So corporate is important, but I think corporate everywhere is not important. And I think humanities keeps protesting and keeps raising this level of awareness. Where is it that humans are being superseded by the machines? Our talk to machines needs to be on equal footing. And that is where I think again and again I'm trying to do this. Now, getting published on the lines that your particular area of interest, number one. or your discipline asks you for, and we all are bound by getting published. I have talked about it many times, even in my previous sessions, and I think that you are having many other sessions regarding good writing, how actually good publication is possible. So I'm not going to pick on nitty-gritty of it, but my purpose of this holding this session is basically how actually humanities can bring in gain that I have highlighted in my heading as the quality publishing. What brings quality, how actually the controlled art of publication can be applied. Now, basically, because humanities covers languages as well, and I don't know how many other languages are being dealt here with, which I cannot, possibly Persian or Urdu or Arabic. But I think it's publication generally that applies to us. So your publication might be institutional bound. You either publish or perish or get promotions on that. So that can be one reason for that. It gives you a practical experience. It passes you through a process, offers you a training, and makes you a researcher. And I think as teachers, research has become very academic freedom ideally may speak in terms of how easily and how conveniently you can teach your research. But I think, again, we have to shake hands between individuals and institutions. There are institutional requirements that we try to fulfill at the same time. So dealing with these pros and cons, I think our commitment as teachers of humanities for them is that we talk about the issues that concern the humans. And then also, I think technology being helpful, there are a lot of facilities available. There are a lot of websites. But I think my point in bringing that to the slide is also that we all know that now Chat GPT actually can work for you as your assistant. Does this generate what you really want to talk about? Is perhaps again for you to question. As an assignment, your research may be different. I don't want to use this word like plagiarism or cheating, but I think as many tools students use, so many tools teachers also. So this awareness about what's happening is there. And I think new techniques, including the traditional ones like handwritten work, still are applicable. How we actually detect or try to find out what Chat GPT might have produced or what originally the student might have worked. So there can be many challenges in pedagogy as well, which of course technology has offered and teachers are dealing. There can be, while you are trying to research and get published, open access landscapes. Given our talk regarding and going around quality, I think one word comes to my mind which needs to be very importantly taken care of is authenticity. And of course, that connects with what we all the time imagine there to be as a part of somebody's research, originality. How do we guarantee to ourselves that the various accessible websites are authentic? I mean, Wikipedia at one time was questioned a lot. Now we use it for good information. And I think the difference between information and knowledge also need to be known to the people who want to research originally. So the original in you, the original idea that you want to give, and how do you actually bring it to, say, from the platform to the page, is something that we all struggle. Softwares are there, many other softwares, like I said, they may even communicate on your behalf. They may write for you. But I think along with humanities, whatever else it deals with, I think there is this question of ethics that is so very important to be brought forth. What has ethics to do with? Why ethics? To be tagged to aesthetics. If both of these work along, what we are trying to struggle with here is quality. So I think one of the things that I am trying to highlight is that the question of creativity and quality is also the question of ethics and performance. So if we are ready for all this, I think we can still be happy about technology coming in our lives as a very comprehensive tool. But I think we got to know that instead of being controlled, we got to control. And I'm not using that term again by Catherine Hales, the hopeful cybernetic monster. The monster of machine has always been around, should be. We very much welcome. But I think the way to use it, the way we want to, the way we want to keep that ethical question about our research alive is very important. So I don't want to harp on it, but I think I had my personal experience and professional too of publishing this one book, Transcultural Humanities. Not that I have not published other books, but this one gave me a very good experience of, and this is a reference publication. And what I have tried to highlight at the end, that ethics, of course, is about originality, that quality is about how we move towards quality, and there are processes involved in it, that there is a pre-printing and there is open access that we have. How many readers we have before we really get things published? How many people are helping? How many machines are helping us? Where is it that quality cannot be compromised? And I think one should test oneself on how actually we do not compromise. And if you go for challenging journals, who can reject you many a time, but I think rejection is a very important step to be part of the process. We don't have to get disillusioned by rejections, but I think rejections themselves are challenging. So how do we take the challenge? And how we still struggle to keep the quality alive? So what are the pre-printing techniques? Academic, of course, being academic, and we are academics. So keeping this consciousness alive, that our consciousnesses are not just controlled by machines, but that we still control our consciousness ourselves. I mean, this could be a very philosophical question, of course, dealing with ontologies and epistemologies. But I think that keeps haunting us, this question. Are we being tool to the tool, or are we using the tool? And that is an important step towards quality publication. So academic it should be, and we need to be conscious about that we are academics, and that writing is something, and I think machines are very helpful in that, like we have thesaurus here, but every time thesaurus is not helpful to what you really want to say. So where is it that machine fails, or you can fail the machine? And you can still look for writing and picking on your choice of words which actually appeals to you. And many a time we struggle with like the right word for the right moment. If that were not the business, the poets would not have been poets. What is it that the poets struggle about? I mean, so many times scribbling the same manuscript and then coming up and shaping something that really appeals to you as a poem. Or a dancer rehearsing so many times, or an artisan for that matter, working on the material so many years to bring out what can be a real product of a being. Editing also, of course, is a process, and that requires lots of patience. And I did actually, because this book took me like 8 years to come to the final shape. So editing, how many times we edit ourselves, how many times we get edited by us. What is it that the final shape of a book or an article or the journal that requires you to shape it to their level, how many times you work with that strength. These, of course, are the issues. And finally, of course, how you shape, what is it that comes first, which chapter where, what is your table of contents? Do you need a preface? Do you need a foreword? Do you need an after? Do you need some annexes? I know in science it could be quantitatively different. With us, quantity also matters. But then what matters more with humanities publication is quality. Where is it that we really address to this quality? On that note, I think I have spoken so much. I wish we had face-to-face session where I could see all the faces. We could discuss your projects as well. We could discuss their prospects. But I think living with machine itself is a test. I hope I qualified that test, talking to you people, one-sided only. And I hope that you have many questions that still carries on the discussion. So in the end, thank you so much, but I will be sending you some post reading as well. And hope that this question of quality and this question of what humanities is about from the positions that we hold, be us Pakistanis or be us somebody else, wherever we are living, all the countries are dear, all the countries are important, borders are important, but I think I'm trying to be borderless, and technology at times helps us to be borderless. So thank you everybody for your patience listening to me, and if you have any questions, I think it's only questions that Navish told us we can have, and maybe not many comments. But I would like a guessing game for you. You can see like two brochures here of the book itself. But there is this very meager sort of art form close to thank you. And if anybody, and you can guess on your own actually, what is it made of? It's a sort of artisanry that I did myself. I don't know if you can guess what is the material being used, but it's original. Thank you so much for your time and being here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wasim. This was very insightful. So we really don't have any questions here in the chat except for one that's by Amara Amin. And that's also more like a comment where she's saying that the originality in write-up should be emphasized. And isn't AI narrowing it down to original idea and concept only? I
would like to actually address that issue. That yes, AI is very important. Again, as I said, if we hold a pen in our hand, I think there was pen and then there were ball pens, right? And then before the pens, there were quills. And I don't know what made handwriting really to be closer to calligraphy and beautiful. So that art is gone now. But we know that from quill to pen, and then other forms of pen, and then to ball pen, and then ourselves becoming quite conscious of our handwritings, we stopped writing by hand. And now it's computer that writes for us. So that art form gone. Now, of course, technology advancing. And with artificial intelligence trying to replace intelligence, if I am rightfully saying that. And I'm trying to make a point here that intelligence still comes first. Even, and that's for us to actually very much debate about that intelligence is ours. Machines are intelligent as well. But don't forget that who creates machines. I'm not saying that we all grow very natural, but the point is that, okay, machines help creation, take that help. But don't let machine create your idea the way you imagine it and the way it cannot translate it. If it is mistranslating, if it is not putting it the way, if ball pen is spoiling your handwriting, you need to think what can make your handwriting better. So if your writing skill, your originality of ideas being challenged by machine, say Chat GPT may help you organize better. But if you don't have the original thought to share with the machine, of course, machine generates its own thoughts. And you know very honestly, they are not your thoughts. So where is it that actually your originality you carry along? And let me also tell you, the publishing industry is a great industry. And I think you still sell your original people behind machines who are working in the publishing industry are still interested in the original idea that you put forward, not the replica, not the imitation of the sort. I mean, I can go back to Aristotle and talk about mimesis and how actually imitation and mimicry is important. But I think in all that, you bring the materials together to create something. So call it creation, call it originality. It's your idea that you sell. And again, the tag point is how much do you get corporatized in your idea? That's another important Marxist question, coming up with technologies, hijacking all that you give to it. And you can see like your own face is being misused or can be misused many times. You can be fake, actually. You can be declared fake. So these are challenges very open. Your work can be proved fake. So be very sure that you still have that creative um, uh, inbuilt in you, and that machine is creative in its own way, but you are more. Thank you. Yes, Mavish, any other point?
Sorry, can you hear me now? Yeah. So
Yes.
very well answered. Thank you so much, Dr. Wasim. But in my opinion, AI is a double-edged sword. It has its advantages, and then there are disadvantages, like anything, you know.
Anything.
We
Yes.
have to regulate the usage, we have to define the policies, and we have to draw a line where we, you know, declare that beyond this point is unethical.
Right.
That's
Not
cheating.
that, yeah, not that engineers and scientists are not aware of it, but I think we being part of humanities group actually have to forward our fears regarding what actually we belong to, which area we belong. And I think it's good debate actually to talk back to machine and to talk back to mechanics and let them know that yes, these are the concerns. So sharing concern is part of what we are doing even through AI.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We have a couple of more comments here.
Please.
Where Mukaddas says that we don't have AI expertise, and that is how can AI help us? So Mukaddas, for you, I just want to say quickly that in the initial sessions, we did do a session on AI for research, and that's available on our YouTube channel. I strongly suggest that you should go back and view the recording of that session. That was really helpful. It lists out complete list of resources that should be used by researchers to facilitate them in the research process. Then
Yeah,
we
let
have
me-
a couple
let
of
me-
yeah.
Let me add a footnote to that of mine, that please do not take me as the only truthful person. Please, for God's sake. What I have shared is just a small chapter into what CLT is doing. And all the various sessions along with my session can help you actually generate your own book of AI of different forms. Could it be artificial or artisan? So I think I'm trying to, as I said, system awareness. So yes, you have technical help from many other resource persons already. Thank you, Mitch.
Yeah, very rightly said. We have to find our balance. We have to know our context and operate within that context. So thank you so much, Dr. Wasim. We don't have any more questions for you.
Okay, good.
Thank you
Should
so
I
much
say
for your
great?
insightful session, but I'm going to run this session evaluation poll. So I request the participants to please fill this out. This is the evaluation of this session, and the results will be shared with the resource person. We also have some people guessing that what material have you used in this art of yours. So people say it's a potato, cloves, and an eggshell, and it looks like they're right.
Mhm.
What do you think? Are you going to share the secret with us?
Sure, I think what I have done is, I think I worked on the PowerPoint and tried to bring in the aesthetic side of who we are, try to highlight it maybe more than required. But
Yeah,
the material,
we're talking about
materials?
this little image that you said is you have placed right next to thank you, and you asked the
Oh.
participants that what do you think it
Oh,
is made out of. So many
okay.
participants have guessed that it's an eggshell,
It is.
cloves, and a potato.
It is. It is. I think it's a mix
Good.
of these things. Yeah, good. So yes, they got it.
So we have ended the session poll. Thank you so much, Dr. Wasim. With this, I'm going to close the session, and I
Thank you so
thank
much.
you all the participants for making time to attend this session. Your presence, of course, gives a lot of motivation to us to continue offering such kind of wonderful sessions to you. Thank you so much, everyone. Khuda
Thank you.
Hafiz.